This is a Bodyblade, and we're going to be doing a 30-minute workout with this Bodyblade. It was developed by Bruce Hymanson in 1991 to rehabilitate the shoulders and back of his clients. It is also used for a sports enhancement and power workouts. It has a flat blade and a narrow blade. It has weighted ends and a ridge in the center. You hold it lightly like an egg, okay, not tightly. You don't hold it with straight arms and you don't hold it with bent arms. It's a slight flex at the elbow and you drive it from your shoulders, okay? And now we're going to begin, all right? So just to start with, all right? So I'm going to hold it on the outside here to start with, and I'm going to protract my shoulders and retract my shoulders. Protract my shoulders and retract my shoulders. One more time, protract and retract. I'm going to reach it over my head. I'm going to elevate my shoulders and depress my shoulders. Elevate and depress, elevate and depress. One more set here. Elevate and depress here. Elevate, depress. One more set, elevate and depress. Now I'm going to hold it in the center, lightly like an egg, flat blade, and I'm going to start to drive the blade. Holding it lightly. I'm holding it in the center. And as I'm doing this, I'm going to walk through my feet, okay? So I'm moving through my feet. Now, you don't have to do this. You can hold it still without moving through my feet, but that's what I'm going to do to start with. I'm warming up my shoulders, remembering that with the Bodyblade, when your shoulders get tired, it will stop, and that's perfectly fine. So when it stops, you just roll your shoulders back, roll them front, and then begin again. Just like this, all right? That's why you can't overdo the Bodyblade like you could with free weights. So we're just going to drive here, just like this, and keep the blade glowing. We're just warming up. Flat blade, and it's wall to wall, okay? Just like this. Now we're going to do 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and release. Roll your shoulders back. Now I'm going to reach behind me. I'm going to show you on the side. It's on a diagonal. I'm going to lift my chest, and I'm going to drive the blade behind me. My shoulders are retracted slightly. My elbows are slightly bent, and I'm driving the blade. Just like this. Breathing too. Don't forget to breathe as we're doing this. Inhaling and exhaling. Reaching the blade behind me. Just like this. I'm going to show you here in the front and from the other side, just like this. And breathing. And usually count down. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Reaching in front. I'm going to stack my hands. I didn't tell you about the grips, but there's several grips. This is a stacked grip in the center. I'm going to bring it over my head, and I'm now going to drive the blade ceiling to floor as I do this. Overhead. I've lifted my chest, and I'm breathing here. Now I'm hip distance apart with my feet. I can be wider or more narrow, depending on my stability. Now I'm going to rotate from my torso towards one side and then back to the center and rotate to the other side. Now you don't have to do this. You can stay right here and do this position here. When you get tired, you can bring your arms down. But I'm trying to keep my hips forward and rotate only from my upper body as I'm doing this. Only from my upper body. And breathing. Just like that. Keeping it going. Now this is particularly difficult because my arms are overhead. So it takes a lot of energy and a lot of mobility of my shoulders to be able to keep my arms up here in this position. I'm going to rotate a few more times. But you don't have to. You can stay right here in the center. That's perfectly fine. And breathing. One more set to one side, back to the center. One more set to the other side, back to the center. And then 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Roll your shoulders back, roll them front, lift them up, drop them down, lift up, drop them down. Now the one thing you have to remember is this blade does not go to the music, okay? It goes at its own pace, which is 4.5 hertz per second, okay? Now, the other thing is when you drive it more, it makes the arc bigger, it just doesn't go faster. All right, next position, I'm going to do a yoga pose. All right, so I've got my right foot front, my left foot back, my ankle and my knee are in alignment. I'm going to bend my elbow behind me and I'm going to drive the blade to the floor in this position. Now this is your go-to position, okay? So you don't have to do anything else. Now, actually this is not the yoga pose. Sorry, this is just a position that we're using to do a little glute work, okay? So now with this position here, with my alignment of my knee, I'm going to bend my knee straight down and come straight back up. And again, knee straight down and back up. Knee straight down and back up. Let's do 5 more like this. Just like that, up and down. Now, you don't have to do that many. You can just stop at any point and take a break. 1 more. Now I'm going to hold it down in this position and I do little pulses down, 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 and down. Just like that. Or you can just hold it in place. Let's do 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come all the way up. Switch to the other side. Now I have my left foot front, my right foot back. I'm on my toe. My knee and ankle are in alignment, and my elbow is back. And I'm driving the blade to the floor as I'm doing this. Okay, and I'm on my toe. But this is your go-to place. You can stay right here as we're doing this. All right, now, I'm going to go down and up with my knee. As low as I can get, keeping my alignment and keeping the blade going. Just like that. And breathing. Down and up. It's not an aerobic exercise, but if you do it a little bit back to back, it can get a little bit aerobic as we're breathing. Do 5 more. And down and up, but remember you don't have to do 5 more, you can just stay in place. 2 more. On this last one, I'm going to hold it down, and this time I'm going to pulse up and up and up and up. The blade is still going, and you can hold it still, your body still as we're doing this. And last one, and then come all the way back up. Beautiful. All right, now, I'm going to hold this in one hand, flat blade out to the side. Okay, just like this. And I'm going to drive the blade. This is actually your right hand, my left hand. I always start with my weakest hand when I'm doing this because it's harder to achieve. All right, so I'm going to drive it up. It's flat blade, wall to ceiling, wall to ceiling, just like that. Flat blade, wall to ceiling. Trying to stay nice and level, looking straight ahead. Now I'm going to reach overhead, flat blade to the ceiling, and then I'm going to switch to the other hand. And I'm going to try to move with this. You don't have to move with it, but you can. The blade is not directly out to the side, but a little bit in front of your shoulder as we're doing this. And I'm going to switch hands and go back and forth. Back and forth as I keep the movement going. But if this is not something you can achieve today, then just stay on one side, come up overhead, and then switch to the other side. I'm trying to keep it going as I'm doing this. And breathing at the same time, and talking. Okay. Back and forth if you can, keeping this going. And back up, now I'm going to leave it up here. and try to do it. Now notice the arc in this. The harder I do it, the bigger the arc, but it's not going faster. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And release. Roll your shoulders back, roll them front, and you can also do this, any kind of little stretching just like this to help you out. All right. Now I'm going to try the narrow blade. All right, narrow blade, you hold it the same way, but now I'm going to let it go floor to ceiling, okay? Little more challenging. I'm going to start here at this is the lowest place, the easiest place to learn this, okay? Floor to ceiling right in front of me as I do it. And we're breathing. Okay, now I like to bring it up in front of me, but remember, my arms aren't straight and they're not real bent, and it's kind of like a butterfly. So I'm kind of like a bird or a butterfly, flapping here, up and down. Flapping, up and down. Trying to keep the blade going, which when it's the narrow blade, it's more challenging. All right, now also I'm going to try to go up and around, and up and around. I'm going to keep the blade going, and as you can see, some places it stops at a certain place, but I'm going to try to keep it going as I'm doing this. Around and around. I'm trying to do some deep squats, but always know you don't have to. You can always stay right here, in this position here. I'm going to go around one more time on each side, keeping it going, and then I'm going to bring it down to the center and go up and down, like a pump. Keep it up and down, like a pump. And breathing. And hold it down here, little pumps down. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and release. Roll my shoulders back, roll them front, lift them up, drop them down, lift them up, drop them down. Now I am going to do the yoga pose. The last one was not. This is also on the side. One foot is front and the other foot is on diagonal. This is Warrior 2. I'm going to reach my right arm forward, my left arm back. I still have that alignment of the knee, okay? This arm is behind me, and I'm looking at my front arm, and I'm driving the back leg, just like that. Driving it wall to wall. Looking at it, and I'm leaning slightly into my front leg, but my weight is in the center as I drive the blade. And breathe here. And this is my left hand, okay? So it's my weaker arm. And I'm trying to keep it going as I'm doing this. And breathing. All right, now, bend into this front leg. Put your forearm on your thigh, palm up. Reach your arm overhead. Look up if it doesn't bother your neck. Look down to your ankle if it does. Okay, and I'm driving the blade to the ceiling. And breathing at the same time, but keeping that going and keeping my position and keeping my balance as I'm doing it. Looking up, driving the blade. And breathing. And now let's bring it down and switch to the other side. Left foot is front, right foot is on the diagonal. It's heel to your instep or heel. Okay? Reach the right arm back, left arm is forward. Lean into the front leg. Shift your weight back to the center and drive the blade behind you. Trying to keep it wall to wall, flat blade. Holding it lightly like an egg. The harder you hold it, the more it doesn't do anything. The other thing I want to mention is that you can do this and it doesn't really get easier that you get better at it. Okay? So just so you know, there's never a time when it's not going to get easy. It's always hard, and I've been doing this for a few years. I've had bad shoulders, my right shoulder in particular, and it's so much stronger and so much better, but it's not easy. As I'm driving the blade, and because it's my right arm, I try not to do more than I do with my left. I'm trying to keep myself equal on both sides. And now I'm going to lean into the front leg, put the palm up, reach my arm overhead, so that now it's ceiling to floor, looking down at the floor, my neck hurts, up at the ceiling if it doesn't, and driving the blade, ceiling to floor. So it's the flat blade. And breathing here. And I believe we're almost halfway through. And what that means, after we're done with this exercise, is we do, even though we don't have the J-Lo music, we do the J-Lo. And come up. Okay, step together, all right. The J-Lo we do for a minute. Now this is another grip that I didn't show you, but I like to grip with my hands weaving together. I even cross my thumbs, okay? Now, you can have a wide stance or a narrow stance, okay? But I want your knees slightly flexed. Now, when you start to do the blade, everything on your whole body jiggles like a bowl full of jelly, okay? So we're gonna start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and begin. And you just shake all over. You're holding the blade goes back and forth, everything jiggles. It's not a lovely feeling, but it works. So this is activating muscles all over my body, my back, my shoulders, my abs, my glutes, as I'm moving. And now I'm going to change my grip halfway through and keep going. And just keep going. And it always feels weird when you change your grip because you're used to doing something one way, and when you change it up, it's totally different. As you're breathing here. And breathing, we have 15 more seconds to go. So keep going, or if it stops, take a break. We got 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Woo, roll your shoulders back, roll them back, front, and just reach this overhead, and just reach it here. All right. Now I have one more exercise we're going to do before we come down to the floor, and that's our biceps. All right, still, it's a flat blade. You're holding with your whole hand in this position here, but notice I'm not bringing my elbows together. My elbows are apart. Now, lots of times people want to use just their fingertips in this position. Make sure you feel that ridge in the palm of your hand. All right, so I'm not going to drive it. And this is a bicep. Open it up and close it. Open it up and close it. And if I had to guess, this is probably the easiest exercise to do when we're doing the Bodyblade. This particular exercise. Opening up and closing it. Opening and closing. Just like this. Now we're going to make it a little more difficult and a little more challenging, because I'm now going to hold it with one hand. Up and down. One hand. I'm going to move it out to the side and do the same thing. Out to the side. A little more challenging. Now this is my right hand, so it's looking pretty good. But remember, when you're doing this, do not hold it too tight. That's why I'm saying and reminding people not to hold it too tight as you're doing it. Now, I'm going to flip it over this time, and I'm going to drive it floor to ceiling. In front and back. One hand, and you can see how hard this is. But I'm going to keep it going, try to keep myself in one position, not moving around with my body, but you can if it feels more comfortable. And I'm going to come back here, flip it around, hold on with the other hand. Keep it going first, open and close, just like this. And then I'm going to do the other hand, back and forth, and back and forth, back and forth. This is harder on this left-hand side for me, but I'm going to keep it going. Then I'm going to bring it out to the side and do the same thing, keeping it going. As you can see, it's much harder. And then I'm going to flip it around and keep it going this way. And so what do we have? 5 more minutes to go? 10 minutes to go. Oh, good. Excellent. That means we have a lot more we can do. I'm going to keep this blade going, back and forth. You can see it's harder to do with my left hand than with my right. Hold it here in front of me. Down to the floor here. 2 and 1. Beautiful. Okay. So now I'm going to come down to the floor, but I'm going to start kneeling. So if you have a mat or you have bad knees, make sure that you roll up the mat and have some cushioning under your knees. Okay? I'm going to start with the flat blade, the narrow blade, floor to ceiling, holding in the center like an egg. Now, my body is like a plank, and I'm only hinging at the knee. Okay? I'm fluttering like a butterfly here, and I'm leaning back, and I'm coming forward. So I'm only hinging at the knee as I go back. I'm squeezing my glutes, my abs are wrapping, my shoulders are down, and I'm keeping this blade going as I'm doing it. And breathing. Just like this. Back and forth, keeping the blade going. Now if you need to take a break, you can sit back here and come up. You can sit back and come up. Keep the blade going. Sit back and come up, and sit back and come up. Keep the blade going. Let's alternate between these two. Come up, sit back, come up. Hinge back, come up, sit back, and up. Hinge back, come up, sit back, come up. One more set. Sit back and up. Carefully put the blade to the side, roll your shoulders back, roll them front, lift them up, drop them down, lift them up, drop them down. Now even though the blade works great on your abs, we're going to add some abs with this. So I'm going to sit on my sitting bones, my knees are flexed, my feet are anchored into the floor, okay? I'm going to hold the flat blade in the center. And this is your go-to place right here. You can stay right in this position. All right. So now we're going to add a little Pilates roll back with this. So I'm going to roll back on my sitting bones, keeping the blade going, and come up. I'm using 2 hands. I'm rolling back and coming back up. Rolling back, coming back up. Just like that. And back up. Let's do 3 more. 2 more. On this last one, I'm going to stay back. And now I'm going to rotate from the upper body towards my right and back to the center. Rotate towards the left and back to the center. I'm keeping my hips anchored. My hip bones anchored, sitting on my sitting bones as I'm rotating from side to side. Using those obliques on the side of your trunk. Kind of makes your waistline. Okay, now I'm going to come back to the center. I'm going to stay in this position, although you can come up, take a break here, and roll back. Okay? I'm going to keep the blade going. I'm going to lift one leg up. I'm going to press it out and come back. Press it out, come back, press it out, come back, and put it back down. Keeping the blade going. Lift the other leg up. Press it out and back. Press it out and back. Press it out and back. Now, the finish of this is to bring both legs up and hold this position for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Put one leg down, put the other leg down, and stretch and reach through your feet, and breathe here. Inhaling and exhaling, and breathing. All right, now what I want you to do is I want you to flex your feet, inner thighs together. Still the flat blade. I want you to drive the blade towards the wall. And now what we're going to do, we're sitting up nice and tall on our sitting bones, and we're going to roll back with straight legs and flexed feet all the way back, taking the blade over my shoulders and overhead. And then I'm going to bring it over my shoulders. I'm going to imprint, drive it, and reach for my feet. Just like this. Keeping the blade going the whole time, flexing my feet, squeezing my glutes and abs, reaching the blade overhead, over my chest, and keeping going. Now you're breathing the whole time. Your abs are wrapping, feet are flexed, squeezing your inner thighs together as we roll down and back up, just like this. Keeping it going. Rolling. Now I'm going to roll halfway down and hold this position. I'm going to lift one leg up and back down. Lift the other leg up and back down. Lift one leg up and back down. Lift the other leg up and back down. I'm going to reach over towards my feet. And then I'm going to roll back down again. Reaching overhead. Driving the blade. Now if you can't get up, you can always come to this ab prep position and hold right here. Okay? And you can lift the legs up from here. Right here like this. Reaching up and keeping the blade going. Inhaling and exhaling. And reaching overhead. So there are different places you can go to help you. I'm just going to come all the way up. Last time. Roll halfway down here. And you can always stay up here as well. Lift one leg up and the other leg up. Straight legs, flexed feet, knees to the ceiling as I'm doing this. One more time. Then I'm going to roll all the way down, reach overhead. Now I'm going to reach over the chest. I'm going to bend my knees, flat feet on the mat. All right, anchor my feet, hip distance apart. Now, we're going to do a roll up with our glutes, a shoulder bridge, so to speak, okay? I'm going to keep the blade going. I'm going to imprint, squeeze my glutes and hamstrings, roll up to a shoulder bridge. Holding this position right here, and keep the blade going. Reach overhead, reach over my chest, reach towards my knees. Reach over my chest, reach overhead, reach over my chest, reach to my knees. You can stop at any one of these positions and just keep going. Now I'm going to lower my hips and squeeze and lift. Lower my hips and squeeze and lift. Lower my heads and squeeze and lift. Lower my heads and squeeze and lift. Lower my head and squeeze and lift. Just like that. Just like this. And now little pulses up. 10, 9, 8, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And roll all the way back down. Bring the blade down by your side. Bring your knees into your chest. And roll out. Reach one arm. Reach the other arm. Reach both legs. Reach, 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 and release. Reach, 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 and release. One more set. Reach, 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 and release. Bend your knees. Bring your arms down by your side. Roll to the side. Come all the way back up. Okay. Now we're going to do a little stretching here to finish up. If you can't sit like this and you need to sit on a blanket or a yoga block, feel free to do this. You can also sit with your legs straight out in front of you. I'm going to sit with my legs crossed, okay, and I'm going to take one arm and I'm going to put it on my other knee, reach the other arm behind me, and look over my shoulders and breathe here. Inhaling and exhaling. Then I'm going to come back to the center. I'm going to put the other hand on my knee, reach the other arm behind me, and look over my shoulder and breathe here. Inhaling and exhaling, just like that. And breathing. Coming back to the center. Rolling my shoulders back, rolling them front, lifting them up, dropping them down, lifting them up, dropping them down. I'm going to reach my arms forward, reach all the way up, stretch, stretch, stretch. Reach towards my feet. If you have to bend your knees because you feel too much in your back, please do. And come all the way back up. Okay? Reach one arm over to the side and back. Reach the other arm over to the side and back. Reach your hands behind you and stretch and look up if you can. Otherwise, you can also lean forward in the same position. Bring your legs in. I'm going to turn to the side in this position here and show you here how you can sit in this position and just reach your arms overhead, or behind you I should say, and breathe here. And I'm going to face you again, and we are done. Good job, everyone.